Welcome. I attune myself to the creative impulses that dwell in me, that surround me. And I seek to express myself as I live to express to you what Ra is saying today. I yield myself to Ra, to the one true divine creator. And it's not just Ra, it's you, it's me. The one true creator is seeking itself in, through, and as us each and every now moment. Through every portal that we move through. No matter how we see it, no matter how we feel it. Whether we call it a good moment or an atrocious moment, the divine is seeking itself in exactly that. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Allow Ra to fill you with some information, because that's all it is. You take that information and you decide where you want to project it, how you want to use it. Is it going to be part of your puzzle piece? Or is it going to make you pull all the puzzle pieces out and reconfigure them? You're the alchemist. You're the creator. You're the dreamer seeking the dreamer that's dreaming. You go, oh, Sandee, you keep saying that. But you are. You're the one true creator seeking itself, dreaming as yourself. Say your name after that. Mine is Sandee. The one true creator is dreaming about me seeking me through this body, through this mind. Took me a long time to get there. That's called living. I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? Of all that I'm going through, living this life, I am so glad that I'm living. What a wonderful opportunity to be born now in this time. So much, I've seen so much. Born at the end of 1950s. I grew up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. All that I have seen, and I still want to see more. What a wonderful, glorious path that I have taken. Did you wake up this morning saying, I'm happy? For one thing, doesn't mean that there isn't your world isn't falling down around you, but you can be happy for one thing. Life is meant to be lived. It's not perfect. You weren't given a guarantee that it was supposed to be perfect. Perfect is overrated. Perfect means there is no infinite possibilities. If you want perfect, that's only finite. Finite is overrated. But you have to find that out for yourself. Ra just gives you information that they've been wanting to share with us for forever in their category of time. Are you ready? Are you ready to deep dive with Marcus? Are you ready to deep dive with me? Are you ready to deep dive with Ra? I'm ready. Over to you, Marcus.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ascending Beyond Limitations, the Raw Material Law of One. And we're going to be closing out Book 2 in this episode of 37. And I just want to say I'm really grateful for all of you that have been tapping into each episode or just tapping into random episodes throughout this journey. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for supporting. And thank you for being a part of this beautiful space. And with that being said, I'd just like to invite us to kind of ground in and just take a few breaths real quick, if you would like, and just get ourselves nice and grounded, nice and centered, and also opened up so we can receive very clear and transparent divine knowledge tonight, and also receive very clear messages for us through our vessel and through our being as we go through these channeled readings through Ra. And also keep in mind that Ra is a 6th density form or a 6th density complex when it comes to the information that it's shared through the perspective lens of. And that is basically a higher perspective from our typical 3rd dimensional perspective. And what that just means is it's a more kind of higher vibrational or a more balanced or whole perspective when it comes to certain information or experiences. So with that being said, feel free to get cozy. You can sit or you can lay down, or if you're even standing, and we'll just take a couple of breaths. So we'll just begin with breathing in through the nose. And as we breathe in through the nose, we'll then draw that breath down the body and to the earth. And then exhale out of the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, drawing the breath down the body to the earth, and exhaling out of the mouth. And one more deep breath in through the nose, drawing it down the body to the earth, and exhale out of the mouth. And just kind of relax the shoulders a little bit. If you're holding any tension, maybe even just kind of, flap them around or move them a little bit. Get those shoulders loosened up and relaxed down to the side. And just check in with the jaw too, make sure we're not clenching our teeth. Then our fingers, make sure we're not balling our fist. And rub our toes too. Wiggle them around, make sure they're nice and loose. So get cozy and enjoy the episode. And thank you guys for joining us and getting nice and centered with me. I'll go ahead and hand it back over to Sandee.
Are you ready? Are you loose? Like Marcus said, Ra is a 6th density social complex entity. Their planet, as we know it, or we might call it Venus, managed to merge as a social complex. They shifted and they evolved into the 6th density social complex that is channeling this information in hopes that we do it too. They would be what we call our collective that we are moving closer and closer to when we have downloads or uploads or implodes or gifts or seeing or or knowledge for the collective when we give it, when we share it. That at some time, Earth consciousness plus humanity will shift and evolve into a 6th density social complex. That's the growth and intention that Earth consciousness had when she set out to play. So when we listen to Ra, we know that eventually we'll get there, because Ra says, hey, I'm just giving you cheat sheets. What are those little books called that you used to read when you went to college, and so that you wouldn't have to read the whole book? They had these little cheat sheet books that gave you the most the things that you should know the most. They gave you a recap of the book. That's what Ra is doing. He says, been there, done that. Here, we're going to give you something to help you move along. Are you ready? Because here we go. The questioner says, how does the ability to hold visual images in mind allow the adept, ADEPT, and adept means a very skilled or being very skilled or proficient at something or some things. So it says, how does the ability to hold visual images in mind allow the adept to do polarization in consciousness without external action? How can you hold it in your mind without it being external, without you kind of taking it in and making judgment about it? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Ra says, I am Ra, and the divine wants me to show you the book. Here we go. This is what I'm reading from, book 2. I am Ra. This is not a simple query. For the adept, for the people, for the ones who are very skilled, and the divine says, believe that they are very skilled and proficient, will go beyond the green ray, which signals entry into harvestability. The adept will not simply be tapping into intelligent energy as a means of readiness for harvest, but tapping into both intelligent energy and intelligent infinity for the purpose of transmuting planetary harvestability and consciousness. 6 densely social complexes. It is a possibility, infinite possibility. The means of this working lies within. The key is first, take the comma, silence, another comma, and secondarily, singleness of thought. It just means you have to have an intention. So you have to get silent. I know for human beings it's hard to do. I know we're always talking about how hard it is to meditate, how hard it is to go within. But silence of the mind. Even if the mind keeps bringing it back loudly, you can just tell your mind, look, I'm going to go silent again. Let's try it again. There's no right, perfect way to get silent, but it helps. Then Ra says that you have to have intention. Singleness of thought. Ra says, thusly, a visualization which can be held steady to the inward eye for several of your minutes as you measure time. That's how you measure time. Several of your minutes, but for them, it's a blink of an eye. But humans want to know, how long does it take? Several of your minutes, possibly. Right? Thusly, a visualization which can be held steady in the inward eye for several of your minutes as you measure time, comma. Comma means we always take a pause. Will signal the adept's increase in singleness of thought. That's when, it's one person is being adept or very skilled at meditation, and another person is just very skilled at intention. They can do it when they're not even thinking about it. Now, Ross says combine the two. And you're the only one that can tell you if you're very skilled or proficient at something. It's about embodiment. How bad do you want whatever you're seeking? How bad do you want whatever you believe you want to see? Only you can know that. Where do you want to go in your thought? The singleness of thought then can be used by the positive adept to work in group ritual visualization for the raising of positive energy, by negative adepts for the increase of personal power. Did you hear that? So it can work for the person that has that is doing the positive polarity, and it can also work for people who are doing the negative polarity. It's about singleness of thought and getting quiet. The questioner then asks, can you tell me what the adept, after being able to hold the image for several minutes, does to affect planetary consciousness or affect positive polarity? Have you ever, before Ra answers that, this is a good question to ask, because if you singularly focused on something that's negative, and you're focused on that negative, even though you don't like it, your adeptness is focused on that polarity. What are you creating? This is what the questioner is asking. How does that work? Right? So Ra says, of course, I am Ra. When the positive adept touches intelligent infinity from within, this is the most powerful of connections, for it is the connection of the whole body, mind, spirit complex microcosm with the macrocosm. This connection enables the, take the comma, shall we say, take the comma, green ray, true color in time, space, to manifest in your space, time. In green ray, thoughts are beings. In your illusion, this is normally not so. In green ray, thoughts are beings. But we're told that thoughts can become things. That's what we're taught. It's okay. It's not a right or wrong. It's a beginning. The adepts, or the skilled or proficient, then become living channels for love and light, and are able to channel this radiance directly into the planetary web of energy nexi. Nexi. I hope I pronounced that right. Nexi or nexi. That means many nexuses. Okay. Infinity. The ritual will always end by the grounding of this energy in praise and thanksgiving, and the release of this energy into the planetary whole. Back to you, Marcus.
That was a beautiful way to leave off. I love how also, it left off with a message of this time period that we're in. If you're someone that, has any type of awareness of what tomorrow is, and the fact that it left off with gratitude and thanksgiving. And, that kind of brings me into wanting to invite people to maybe reflect a little bit for a moment. And I know we may be going through some struggles right now, or we could be going through some anxious times, or stressful, or even depressing for some during these type of periods. And I just want to invite us to opening into our heart chakra, our green energy center. And with this reflecting, I just want to invite us to think of anything that we are grateful for, or anything that we really appreciate or love in our life. And it could be a pet, it could be a family member, a loved one, it could be a community, it could be a project or something that you're passionate about. Whatever it may be, a cartoon, a video game. And as you think about it, I invite you to close your eyes if you'd like and visualize it. And as you visualize it, allow yourself to feel the connection with it. And as you feel the connection with it, just allow yourself to breathe and circulate the breath through the heart, right to that green energy center. Of course, you can use your hands over your heart if you would like. You can take a heart chakra crystal, put it over your heart chakra. It could be like a rose quartz, emerald, aventurine. All right. Now I'd like for you to think about just how blessed you are to have whatever it is that you are thinking about in this moment. And then to think about the opportunity that you have to be in this body and be in this life. And to have the ability to experience free will. Then I'm just going to leave us off with a affirmation. And the affirmation you can repeat if you would like. You can say it out loud. You can say it inside your own mind. Completely up to you. But the affirmation is, I am present I am filled with gratitude. I am co-creating in this moment my own choice to be in love and follow my dreams. And then take one more big, deep breath. Bring it all into the heart center. And release. So, yeah, I just want to give people a reminder of gratitude and also the power of our mind and the focus of our mind and what happens through magnetism and attraction with things that we are mentally focusing on. And as we mentally focus on things, we get more energy and more focus to it. And, we can get more of that in our life. So just keep in mind, the more that you focus on what it is that you're intentional about, and intention, kind of like your own inner energy, inner tension that you're creating, and then using that to kind of put that imprint or that reasoning to what it is that you want to manifest. So just keep in mind of your focus and the power of your mentalism and the way that you're choosing to believe, the way that you're looking at yourself in a limitation or in just a open source of creating. Just no limitation, no need to define, no need to feel like there's a right or wrong to how you create or when you create, but just really feeling it in the moment and just knowing that you are here and you being here is all you need. It's the passcode. You get to do whatever you want here. But while you're here, just kind of maybe pay attention to the cause and effects of what happens when you do things. And that's really it. Enjoy the playground.
Oh, yeah. I love saying that, enjoy the playground. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Our free will, I'm so excited. I'm starting to blur my words together. So Divine says slow my roll. I'm going to slow my roll. Our free will is the opt-in key and the opt-out key. Our higher beings came here with a desire to see, feel, and create through the vibrations of energy. But they gave us the key to the vehicle so that we could take them through every dimension possible. They said, give us the best show you can. It doesn't matter if they're going to do it again in another lifetime. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves. And they got the same free will choice to move through polarity. The divine is seeking itself through the higher polarity and the lower polarity with no judgment at all. So this word that they use through what the best word that they could find from our dictionary, from our language, is the word adept. So that they could talk about in our dictionary, it means someone very skilled or proficient at something. But they use the word adept that's what they call us. That's growing and expanding in our evolutionary processes. How we use the energy, because in the first book, Ra says the way to manifest is energy or intention. Let's put it that way first. Get it right, because this is the way they said it. Intention plus energy creates. The divine had an intention to see itself in form. Therefore, it moved its energy across what we call space and time, and it created the stars, and it created the moon, and it created the sun. And the stars, the moon, and the sun had consciousness as well. Intention plus creation plus or energy that says, I want to create for you, equals creation, or creation meaning that you get to manifest something. And believe me, the divine wants me to let you know that you are always manifesting. You may not always like what you're manifesting, but you're always manifesting. You ever heard that thing, that saying that says, be careful what you ask for? Because the energy is always listening. So then the questioner says, could you give me more information on the energy fields of the body as related to the right and left brain, and if this is somehow related to the pyramid shape as far as energy focusing goes? Ooh, what a good question. The questioner also says, I'm at a loss as to how to get to this line of questioning, so I will ask that question. Ra says, I am Ra. We are similarly at a loss at this time of answering. We may say that the pyramid shape is but one which focuses the in-streaming of energy for use by entities which may become aware of these in-streamings. We may say further that the shape of your physical brain is not sufficient as a shape for concentrating in-streaming of energy. Please ask more specifically, if you may, that which you seek. The questioner says, each of us feels, take the comma, in meditation, take another comma. So this means pauses. Each of us feels in meditation, energy upon the head is in various places. Could you tell me what this is, what it signifies, and what the various places in which we feel it signifies? Now, everyone says when they meditate, they feel it in their root, or they feel it in their sacral, or they really feel it in their solar plexus, or sometimes they feel it in their third eye. It pulsates. It feels like it's moving around in there, like it's rolling around. They feel energy bouncing off of them. So Ra says, I am Ra. Forgetting the pyramid will be of an aid to you in the study of these experiences. The in-streaming of energy are felt by the energy centers which need and are prepared for activation. Thus, Those who feel the stimulation at the violet ray level are getting just that. Those feeling it within the forehead between the brows are experiencing indigo rays, and so forth. Those experiencing tingling and visual images are having some blockage in the energy centers being activated, and thus the electrical body spreads this energy out, and its effect is diffused. Those not truly sincerely requesting this energy may yet feel if the entity are not well trained and trained in psychic defense. Those not desirous of experiencing these sensations and activations and changes, even upon the subconscious level, will not experience anything due to their ability at defense or armoring against change. The questioner asks, is it normal to get two stimulations at once? I am Ra. The most normal for the adept is the following. You might want to write this down if you want to. The indigo stimulation activating that great gateway into healing, magical work, prayerful attention, and the radiance of being. The stimulation of the violet ray, which is the spiritual giving and taking from and to creator, from creator to creator. This is a desirable, I'm excited, desirable configuration. Please ask for more full query at this working. The questioner says, can you explain on the concept which is that it is necessary for an entity during incarnation in the physical as we know it to become polarized or interact properly with other entities, and why this isn't possible in between incarnations when the entity is aware of what he wants to do. Why must he come into an incarnation and lose conscious memory of what he wants to do and then act in a way in which he hopes to act? So basically, he wants to know why, when a higher being is lowered into this third density body, why do we get amnesia? Why don't we just come in doing what we want to do? I'm saying, try reading the divine design. These translations, they build upon each other. This writer and the writer of the divine design, or these channelers of this book, writing these books for Ra, and Lori Ladd being channeled through and writing the divine design, they had no idea that they were going to do these books, and these books were going to make sense and correlate or collaborate through energy. Right? And Lori Ladd, in her book, it's believed that Earth consciousness started the story of with humanity and form becoming formless through the story in fifth density, and that we wanted more stories, and the more stories could only be gotten through the density levels of fourth and third. Fifth density could not give us a polar negative. We couldn't have fear. We couldn't have angst. We couldn't have hate. We couldn't have malice. We couldn't have distrust. We couldn't have anxiety. Those only happened in fourth density and third density. Hence, we get to have more stories, more ability for stories. We get to have polar opposites. We get to dive into hate to learn how to unconditionally love. So this is where the questioner is asking, how come we have to how come we don't just come in knowing? How come the higher being doesn't just come in knowing? How come we have to go through amnesia? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Ra says, I am Ra. Let us give the example of the man who sees all the poker hands. He then knows the game. But I'm sorry, I added a word there. It is but child's play to gamble, for there's no risk. Did you get that? If the man knows all the hands, what's going to happen already, there's no risk. There's no fun in the game. The other hands are known. The possibilities are known, and the hand will be played correctly, but with no interest. In time/space and in the true color green density, the hands of all are open to the eye. The thoughts, the feelings, the troubles, all these may be seen. There is no deception and no desire for deception. Thus, much may be accomplished in harmony, but the mind, body, spirit gains little polarity from this interaction. The mind, body, spirit gains little story from the interaction if you know your whole hand. If you know your whole hand. Ross says, let us re-examine the metaphor and multiply it into the longest poker game you can imagine. Take the comma. Let's call it lifetime. The cards are love, dislike, limitation, unhappiness, pleasure, etc. They are dealt and redealt continuously. You may, take the comma, during this incarnation begin, and we stress begin, to know your own cards. You may begin to find the love within you. You may begin to balance your pleasure, your limitations, etc. However, your only indication of other selves cards is to look into the eyes. So the only way that you're going to know that other, we talked about the other self. Marcus is the other self of me. Me being the divine, seeking itself as Marcus and as me. I don't know what hand Marcus was dealt. I don't know all the ins and outs of what our collaboration is. That's what makes this collaboration exciting. That's what makes it a story. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You can look at incarnation any way you want to. So, So then Ross says, you cannot remember your hand, their hands, perhaps even the rules of the game. This game can only be won by those who lose their cards in the melting influence of love. Can only be won by those who lay their pleasures, their limitations, their all upon the table face up and say inwardly, and this is in quotations, all of you players, each other's self, whatever your hand, I love you. This is the divine saying, all of you that are me, I love me. I love you. All of you that are expressions of me, I love you. No matter what choices you're making, no matter how many times you're doing this, I love you. See, most of us think that we have to go and the only way we're going to know how to live is once we find out about our soul or our higher being. We have to find out where they traveled to and what they've been and who they've been and what they've done in order for us to live. So we spend most of our time in our past or in our soul's past instead of living in our now. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Right? So this cannot be done without forgetting, for it would carry no weight in the life of the mind, body, spirit, beingness, totality. If you always knew, you wouldn't have fun doing this. If you always knew, you get bored. Your higher beings wouldn't want to come back. Been there, done that. They wouldn't want to do playing in earth consciousness. They like coming and playing earth consciousness. They like it because it gives them polarity, gives them a chance to have some fun. Our human body and our mind might not call it fun, but their expression of living life is fun. They're excited about that. They get to be formless in a form body. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Back to you, Marcus.
Wow. That is really potent stuff right there. And it's so true. Like, that's part of the beauty of this human life is, discovering, experiencing, being able to have unique connections, having multidimensional perspective, and the ability to co-create. It really, I feel like, allows us to be able to appreciate a little bit more the smaller and the more micro level things, being able to experience in this individualness. And yeah, it's just really deep stuff. Wow. Really good stuff to process. With that being said, I'm gonna hand it back over to you.
Really deep. The questioner also says, is there anything that we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or to improve the contact? I'm Ra. You are conscientious and your alignments are careful. It would be well to take care of this instrument's neck and place carefully upon its support. I am Ra, and I leave you and your friends, or you, my friends, in love and light in the one infinite creator. Go forth, rejoicing in the power and the peace of the one infinite creator, Adonai. And that is the end of book 2.
Wow. We are at the end of book 2.
We are at the end of book 2. But the divine wants me to share from the act of consciousness. It says, what goes on earth? This is, if you have the act of consciousness, it's chapter 18. And it says, the eyes of creation in both the physical and non-physical dimensions are watching from all around the cosmos.
Wow.
Your angelic families are watching what happens on earth right now. You, as a leader of your angelic family, came to this place on earth, infused it with life force energy, and dived in. Now your angelic family is watching to see how you fare, to see if you can truly remember your angelic origins, and see if you can come to have intimate and loving relationship with the grandest of your I am heritage.
Wow.
From all around creation, soul beings are watching to see how your humanity will deal with the issues of energy and freedom. Humans are finally learning about energy. It looks like a crisis, a literal energy crisis with your fueled supplies. But it's really about learning how to work with energy, how to call them forth, and how to have them serve you. Humans are also working on the issues of freedom. In a limited state of consciousness, there is very little freedom. In a mental hypothetic state, hypnotic state, there is very little freedom. But now something is changing. Humans all over the world are talking about freedom, even rioting from freedom. There are many, such as yourself, who are awakening, and in doing so, beginning to realize the importance of sovereignty and freedom in their lives. They want freedom, not just government and freedom from, they want freedom, not just from government and corporations, but true freedom within themselves. Awakening humans like yourself are seeking freedom from limited beliefs, old hypnotic overlays, mental programming, and freedom from the past. Indeed, the eyes of the universe are watching what goes on earth. You are going to see a new cycle and increased activity from other beings, entities, and distant places and dimensions. It doesn't mean that they're just going to descend here in their ships. They project themselves here through other means by mental spacecrafts, but there will be increased alien activity because they're wondering what's going on with the humans. What are they choosing? What are you choosing? Everything that you have in your life, the divine says, is a choice, good or bad. Remember, the divine doesn't seek it as good or bad. The divine is just seeking the story, the expression. who it is in form. But because we have polarity, we get to have a good or a bad. It may be the matrix, or you may call it illusion, but life is real. If you found out it's a matrix and it's been pre-recorded and predestined, then why would you run from it? Why wouldn't you want to change it, transform it? You're the creator, seeking itself. If you find out something's an illusion, why won't you want to alchemize it? Illusion is just energy. This is all Ra is saying. It's energy. The negative and the positive of a polarity is energy. Where you're going to be in it. Energy is waiting for you to give it a command. Matter of fact, you could say it's waiting for you to demand of it something. You're the creator. It's taken this human incarnation, the whole incarnation of humanity, this long to realize that they're the one true creator, that they are the dreamer, having a dream about dreaming. We're beginning to understand the paradox. It makes sense to us. That's all Ra is saying. Does it make sense to you? And when it starts to make sense to you, what are you going to do with it? At the end of book 2, all Ra is saying is you're very skilled and you're proficient. According to you, not your neighbor next door. So if you're very skilled and very proficient at anything, what are you going to do next? Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm ready for book 3. How about you? Any questions about what book 1 or 2? Back to you, Marcus.
What a journey it's been. Book 3 coming up. Man, we have explored such beautiful downloads and messages in these first 2 books, ranging from topics about Yeshua or Jesus, who he is on a soul level, talking about figures like Adolf Hitler and what his soul journey is like beyond the human self. And we also have talked about the chakras and how the different rays of light correlate to our human life. And wow, just so many beautiful topics throughout these 2 books. And for anybody out there, I highly recommend getting your own copy and just seeing where your intuition takes you with those books, as I'm sure there's plenty that you did not pick up on listening to us or any other times, and you can look back and find something more every time. It's definitely one of those type of texts, that's for sure. Wow, it's been very transformative, and I've been very grateful for this journey. And thank you, Sandee, for co-hosting this and being a part of it this summer and fall, and now going into the winter time.
Oh, you definitely so welcome. I enjoyed it. I thought it would go through book 1.
Mm-hmm.
But the divine said, "Oh, book 2," and then dropped book 3 in my lap. I went to, as I was reading book 2, the divine just dropped it in my lap. They sent me a notification from Amazon. Oh, here's what we think you'd like to read next. It was available. Book 3 was available. I said, okay, put it in my cart. Booyah. Right? We're at episode 38. It will be. Next week it'll be episode 38.
That's right. Man, I swear we might end up going for a whole entire year anniversary by the time we get to 5.
By the time we get to 5.
That'd be awesome.
Right? And it's just, the reminder is Ra is a 6th density social complex. That's the label that Ra gives us to for our cognitive mind to understand.
Yeah. You gotta start with the basics of coming to the knowing of, where you are in this reality that we're existing in, as
Yeah.
in, know thyself, as they say. And
Nope.
when you know thyself, you get to understand, why am I in this third dimensional vessel? Why is there a reason that I wake up and I fall asleep and I do things as this specific individual? And the more you tap in and tune in with yourself and figure that out mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, then you're able to be more that alchemist. You're able to really be more in a natural, embodied state of this knowledge that Ra shares with us. And the more you become aware of, who you are and how it operates in the third dimension when it comes to the physicality and the duality in the material world, then you can kind of be able to be the alchemist of the world. And when you become the alchemist of the world, you start to understand how the principles of energy and frequency work. And then you're able to co-create with it a little bit better. And with that, you then start to understand the different type of dimensions, the third dimension, which is the human body right now, currently, that we're in. And then the 6th dimension of what Ra and being a 6th dimensional complex means. And then, of course, there's also 4th dimension, the 5th dimension, 7th, 8th, and even more beyond that. And there's actually a 2nd dimension and 1st dimension as well. It's really interesting stuff. You can find this stuff in a lot of esoteric and a lot of occult teachings. And the more you can understand it, the more you can integrate it into your daily life, the more you're able to really be in the walking and be in the shoes of these things that you hear about and things that we're talking about.
Yeah. The when we hear the word occult, most of us come from a religious background, and we think occult means the devil and whatnot. The cult, that word has a different meaning than what religion has given it, or religious dogmas have given it.
Oh yeah.
So there is just a lot of history that we haven't been taught about spirituality, or about how we see and how we can seek information that is about the divine within us.
Mhm.
It's been hidden from us for a while because the the higher beings that wanted to seek and feel what control felt like, that's how they utilized that energy. It wasn't good or bad for the divine. That's how they expressed what they wanted to seek and feel. It wasn't good or bad from the divine's point of view, but from our body mind point of view, yes. If there's a good, there is a bad. If there is an up, there is a down. If there is if there is sickness, there is health. If there's sadness, there's happiness. But all the higher polarities you were born with, they're within you. The lower polarity is just the density. It's the story that gets to be created. It's the energy that says what you have in you as a higher polarity. Outwardly, there's something that you get to experience or express. That's the lower version of what you have within you. The lower story gets to tell you about the higher story or your higher being and who you are. Lower polarity is your GPS of you moving up the polarity steps back to merge with the divine. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. It works for me. It took me a long time to get there. So I can't carry you with me. I can only share the information with you. And that's just my easy breezy breakdown. I'm quite sure that you go to a guru who can break it down to you page by page, book by book and whatnot, until you understand it, because there are some people that need to understand it that way. If you come from a scientist background and you have dived in to your spirituality, you're going to want that type of breakdown, because that's the way your mind is geared. So you're going to want the certain types of principles that make sense to your body, mind, and spirit. Take what resonates. Leave what doesn't. Next week, I think we're going to take a break from before we start book 3, so that we can go over book 1 and book 2 and see if you have any questions. I hope you'll be there.
Yeah.
Marcus, back to you.
Yep. It will be a lot of fun. Just kind of reflecting and exploring through this beautiful journey for these first 2 books of the Raw Material Law of One. And there's been some really cool, podcasts, channelings, and other videos that we've screen shared throughout this journey as well. So we'll be reflecting on, some of our favorite episodes that we've had, some of the favorite videos that we've watched, as well as different topics that have came through with these raw channelings. And I just want to give thanks again to all of you out there that have continued to support. Tap in and have fun with us throughout the journey in the comments. It really does make, the real fun of this space, to be able to see what you guys have to say and be able to interact with all of you guys. And just tap in with us next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time, as we'll be live for episode 38, as we'll go through book 1 and book 2. And then the following week after that, we'll be opening up book 3.
And everybody, I want you to thank Marcus. He's a wonderful creator, creating this platform, giving us, being able to bring to us the visuals that we need to bring, the background, the everything, the music, everything, right? So this is all done so that we can share with you, right?
That's right.
All done so
There's
that we can share it with you.
nothing that I would rather do but share these spaces and times with all of you.
Yes. So we wish him health and healing, divine health and healing right now for his ribs, for his body, right?
Thank you.
So much. So you do so much for us, Marcus. Thank you so much.
And hey, same to you. I mean, I see you out there. Speaking of, what you got coming up?
I am working on my new time schedule. I know for sure I will be doing Soul Conversations with Sandee. It will be, it's moving times from 11:30 in the afternoon to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It will still be on Fridays, but I'm trying things new, So there's some other things in the works, but I'm using the holidays plus this time that I'm doing healing and whatnot to get my group plans. So I know for sure Ascending Beyond Limitations on Wednesday at 6 p.m. and Soul Conversations with Sandra, my podcast, on Fridays at 6 p.m. And then I'm going to be doing some other things on my TikTok and YouTube, some exciting things. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. So bear with me. I know you haven't seen much of me, but I'm not gone. I'm just transforming.
Like a butterfly in a metamorphosis.
Exactly. That's what I am. I think I'm in a cocooning stage, and I'm going to come out. When I come out, boom, baby.
I believe that, Miss Gemini over there.
Exactly. I'm learning all my tools. I'm learning so much about my tools, and I'm taking my time. I want to rush things, but the divine keeps telling me to slow my roll. So I'm slowing my roll, and I'm letting it just kind of metamorphose, kind of. I don't know, what is that, like the bird the phoenix. I think the phoenix has already went into ashes, and I'm rising. So.
I feel that.
What are you doing?
Wow. Coming up, spaces that you guys can tap into and be a part of is on Friday. I will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be live with Magic Yana from Germany and the Healing Magician. He also goes by. We'll be live for episode 5 of Friday Expedition, and we're going to talk about brotherhood, healthy divine masculine energy, and what it's like to be a healthy masculine brother in this world for our sisters and for our brothers and for the children and everybody else, So we're going to be talking about that, and you guys can definitely chime in and talk about that, whether you're a male or a female. Both genders are welcomed, and you guys can chime in and share what you believe about what healthy masculine energy is, or what it's like to be healthy in your masculine energy. And then along with that, for people local in Ohio, I'll be holding a space in Dayton, Ohio, and it'll be at the Front Street Art Gallery. And I'll be doing that with a good sister named Heather, and we'll be doing a inner shadow workshop. So we'll be talking about the shadow, and we'll be doing meditation, sound healing, and a potluck as well.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I got coming up. Just kind of keeping it low key right now. I'm healing a fractured rib, and I'm also healing from a concussion as well, because I had a fall that was basically like a near death experience due to being in the hot tub, and I guess just being in too long and got my blood pressure going a little bit too high when I got out of it and hit the different outside air atmosphere, and ended up falling over, whiting out, and hitting my head and my ribs. So I'm learning to take things a little bit slower now. That's for sure.
Definitely. You got to take it slow. You're an alchemist, you're a creator, you're a healer. And, our bodies are always talking to us. Here's the thing. Our bodies are always in collaboration with us. It's sometimes we hear them, and sometimes they shout to us very loudly, so
Right.
yeah. So I'm working with my care, I call them the divine caregivers that I was given through my stage 1, and and I have my levels and everything are great. So I'm doing well. So just healing, and before you know it, be right back doing what I need to do. But I got to take care of this body. Otherwise, there won't be Soul Awakening with Sandra or Soul Conversations with Sandra or anything. So I'm listening to my body, and I'm learning how to alchemize. I think that was the next thing that the divine has got me doing is learning. I'm in the learn part of teach. I can't teach anybody if I don't know about me and how to heal, how to alchemize, how to acknowledge when the number one thing about alchemy is you have to know when something needs to be alchemized. So you have to know about your body. I know we all want to just be perfectly healthy 100% of the time, but if our body is telling us something's wrong, we have to listen. We have to find out what it's trying to tell us and what we can do for it. So that's the name of the game here for me. I'm cocooning, and I'm going to come out a full-fledged purple butterfly. So thank you so much for joining us. One love, peace, wholeness, one love.
One love. And hello to Nancy out there on Facebook. Have a blessed night, Nancy. And thank you for tapping in with us. And everybody, wholeness and balanced love.
Wholeness and balanced love. Take what resonates.